the questions.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, I want to know if you appreciated that video. It was really very good. Oh my gosh. Vicki has been performing since you were how old?
19.
Since you were 19. So from the age of 1, where were you born?
I was born in London, England.
And was it a peaceful time when you were born?
Actually, I was 4 years old when World War II began. But you have to remember, for us, it began in 1939. So I'll give you a minute to take out your calculator. It was a pretty bad time. I remember I used to go to bed at night, and at the bottom of the bed, my mother would lay what we called a siren suit. It was a one piece that you jumped into, and you zipped it all the way up. And then you put your hot chocolate on one shoulder, and your gas mask on the other, and you ran to the subway. And you stayed there until you got the all clear. And my mother used to sit there every night, hoping that no one would step on us. But we survived. The British had the most incredible sense of humor. And Churchill, I think, was such a great role model for us. So after that, children under 14 were not allowed to stay in London. They had to go to the north of England. So I was evacuated to a place called Ulverston, Lancashire, where I found out later it was the home of, 90. What can you expect?
90 years old.
A very famous comedy team. And I stayed there, and actually the only school was a convent. So my mother took me there, and she said to the nuns, please don't indoctrinate her into the Catholic religion, she's Jewish. They didn't care. I could recite the catechism backwards and forwards, I knew how to use the rosary. And one day I was 7 years old, and we went to church, and it was Ash Wednesday, and the priest came over, and with his thumb he made the cross here. Now my grandmother was visiting for the first time, so I went from the church to my grandmother. I knocked on the door. My grandmother opened the door and said, oh, oy vey, they made her a shiksa. So there was fun, even during the war.
So when the war was over, what was your first inclination? Did you want to go back to school? Did you want to sing? Where did that desire to sing come from?
I was 9, I think. Well, the problem was that all the schools in London were closed. So there was really nowhere for me to go except to boarding school, which I did. I was at boarding school from 9 to 12, and it was wonderful. I loved it. And then I came home at 12, and I went to a theatrical school till I was 16.
Was that your idea, or was that your parents'
I think
idea?
it was my parents.
Really? They pushed you?
Yeah.
Wow.
They were so supportive. They really were. I could never have done this without my father.
Can you tell us their names? I love to hear names.
My father's name was Alec Davis, and my mother's name was Bertha Davis. And they were just two incredible. I think my mother was the wisest person I ever met. I really do.
Oh, wow. How long did she live?
She lived till 92. I'm
Yes.
going to beat her.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So, was she able to see you performing?
Oh my God, yes. Sometimes when I was at a hotel, because you know I worked in the summer, I worked the Bush Belt, the Catskills, for 20 years every summer. And sometimes you would go there and there was no stage manager, and I had to have a spotlight. no way I was going to do anything without a spotlight. So I put anyone on the spotlight who was there. I think Roland was about 4, Ivan was about 5, and then there was my mother if she came. But it was a fun time.
Do you remember the first time you performed for an audience?
Oh God, it was terrible. It was an afternoon show at a sort of a society club where you had tea, and I lost my voice.
No.
I got through the second and third, and my whole family was sitting there, and I just lost my voice.
From fear or?
Fear.
From fear?
Yeah.
How old were you?
19, 20,
So you were
something like that,
19?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't stop me. Nothing was going to stop me.
And that was in England, right?
That was in England, yes.
So your career took off in England how? How did that happen?
Well, I actually, it came to me. My career came to me. I didn't go to it. I was at a party where the young man I was going out with had quite a bit of money, and he had a band at this party. And for some reason, my friend said to me, "Why don't you get up and sing?" Go on, get up and sing. So I got up and I sang a couple of songs, and the musical director was playing the piano, and he said to me, "Do you want to do this professionally?" And I said, "Okay." And that was it.
So you said okay, and then, did you sing with that band?
No. He was actually a music publisher.
Uh-huh.
And I traveled a lot because I did a lot of USO tours. That's the American something or other. I performed at all the officers' clubs all over Europe. Germany, France, Italy, Belgium, North Africa, everywhere.
This was in the 50s?
This was about 55, 56.
Yeah.
And I loved it, and then from there, that was actually fun. I remember performing at Tripoli, Port Lyoty, and there were 2,000 sailors there, and I was on the stage, and they had, the floodlights, and there were like a ladder going up, except one piece was missing. So they said to me, "Be careful, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I was fine. I got up there, I did what I had to do. They're screaming and shouting, as sailors want to do. And I took now, and I started to walk off, and I went down the first and second step, and the third I put my foot right through. So now I'm sitting like this, and the sailors are coming up one by one, taking pictures. So somebody's got a picture of whatever it is they took.
So I'm very curious how you made the transition from Europe to the United States.
Well, there was a British comic I had worked with in England called Dave King. I did a lot of what they call variety specials.
On television?
Yes, they would be on TV on a Saturday night, and it would be such singing and dancing and comedians and whatever. And one of usually a comedian was top of the bill. And this Dave King had been top of the bill there. And I remember going on and singing, "Come Rain or Come Shine." Now I'm at the top of the stairs, and I am terrified of stairs. And I've got this sleek gown on with a tulle like a mermaid thing. And I start to walk down the stairs, and I catch my heel in the back. I thought I didn't know what I was going to do, but I managed to tear it and walk down the rest of the stairs.
Oh.
Now, he was coming to the States. So he asked me, "Do you want to come and, would you like to do a show there or there?" So I said, "Oh, sure, yes, let's do that." So you saw the first Dave King show where I did beat up the town. There were more. The one that I did the duet with him was when I went back to London. I took you, Ivan, you were about 20 months. You remember?
You were fabulous.
And then from there, in the meantime, I think I had done the Johnny Carson show, and I
Now,
worked.
how did you get on the Johnny Carson show?
Someone told Skitch Henderson about me. Because
Do
he
you all
was
remember
booking all the
Skitch
talent.
Henderson?
He
Yeah.
was booking the talent.
Oh, I didn't realize he was
Yeah.
doing that also. Ah.
So he called my agent and said, would she like to come on and do, a couple of numbers?
Oh, well, that was very
That was,
fortunate.
I did it,
Yeah, that was wonderful.
And I worked.
Had Johnny Carson heard you before you went
No,
on?
no.
Wow,
No,
that's unusual. That was unusual.
I don't know, I remember when he had people on who'd written a book, he'd never read the book. He'd never seen the movie. He'd never seen anything that these people had done.
Right.
So I was just another one.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
So, did you do any Broadway shows?
I did some off-Broadway, I did 2 off-Broadway shows.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was a two-hander,
A
2 people.
Oh, okay.
And the second one was my own,
Okay,
one-woman shows.
what
The
was
first one was called Smiling Through.
Okay,
I didn't sing for 8 years after Lou died. I couldn't sing. I couldn't do it. And then somebody approached me at a beautiful club in New York called 88. He said, I'm opening this club. Would you like to sing there? And I said, no, I don't do that anymore. I don't do that. Anyway, somebody talked me into it. I went there and I was there every week for months and months and months with incredible, wonderful queer audience. They're the best. And other people, of course,
You mentioned your husband. How did you and Lou meet?
Oh, boy. Well, his mother was watching the first TV show I did with Dave King. And she said, Lou, come here, look at this girl, look, she's wonderful. The next night, my aunt and uncle are at a beach club, and Lou is entertaining. So my aunt went over to him and she said, I have a niece in the business. He went, she was on the Dave King show last night, maybe you saw. He said, what? Vicki, is she married? Anyway, my aunt comes home and she shows me a photo. She said, this wants to meet you.
This wants to meet you.
This wants to meet
you.
So, she said, and he works in the Catskills, so maybe you could go up with him and see what it's like. So I remember he said to me, he called me up at midnight, and I'm pacing up and down, and I said to my aunt, I don't care if he calls, it doesn't matter if he calls. Oh, he's calling. And he said to me, all right, would you meet me tomorrow? Why don't we have a cup of coffee at Hanson's drugstore? I said, what? Hanson's drugstore. Every comedian, every singer knew where that was except me. So I met him there, and he was sitting at the table, and he went like this, and I went like, I sat down, and we were never apart from that day. Never. We were just together.
Well, it's a beautiful story. That is a beautiful story.
6 weeks later, we were engaged. And then I went back to London. We had a pretty big wedding.
In London?
Yeah.
Did his family come over?
He had a mother.
He had a mother.
I don't want to talk about
So, but you came back here
Yes.
to live?
Yes, because I was still working. I worked with a lot of big name comics. Bill Cosby. Oh, that was unusual. I worked with him. He was so nice. He was really lovely. And he said to me, after that, I did a TV show with him. I was working at the Sands and he was working at the MGM. He said, "Do you want to see my show?" I said, "Oh, I'd love to. But I have my road manager with me and my sister." He said, "That's fine. Come on." So I jump in, he sends a car for me, us, and I get to the MGM and the club is right there and he's going like this. So we went into the club and they served us a champagne, anything we wanted. And then he had invited us backstage and he laid on a buffet of everything you could think of. So when I heard what he had apparently done, first I felt insulted because he didn't even look at me like that. I couldn't believe it. I worked with Don Rickles and Alan King, and
Was this all in Vegas?
that was in Vegas, yes.
Yeah.
The rest was usually, well, it could be in the Catskills or it could be somewhere
True.
in New York.
True, yeah. Yeah. Did you ever work with Jerry Lewis?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. But you and Lou did work in the Catskills
Yes,
together,
yeah,
didn't you?
Yeah.
Want to tell us about
Well,
that?
I would go on for, I don't know, half an hour or so, and then he would come on, and then we'd do something together. And it was really very hard work. We could do up to 3 shows a night, and I'm running from one release to the other. But it was, I mean, we worked together, so it was good.
Yeah.
It was hard work though, a lot of singing, and thank God I never lost my voice. And except the first time I went out and sang. So it was, you know, it was a wonderful thing to be able to work with him.
Oh, yeah.
Because we naturally we had so much chemistry.
Was that your primary source of making a living? Did
Well, he worked alone a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
He worked alone a lot.
But you were dedicated performers.
Yes,
there were
nothing else.
Nothing else.
I still don't know anything else. Somebody asked me to do something, my answer, what's that? Oh, somebody's done something. Anyway, no, I mean, if they ask me to do something, I say, what's that?
So, how long had you been married before you had your first child?
A year.
You had your first child,
Yeah.
then you kept on performing, or did you?
Oh, yes. I think with Ivan I performed up until about 8 months.
Wow, and then after the birth of your
After
child?
him, well, unfortunately, some tragedies. When 3 years later, I gave birth to a stillborn girl.
Oh.
And then 2 years after that, I had a baby that died of SIDS. He was 3 months old. And I think you saw the Andrew William Menchel Infant Survival Foundation. Well, Lou had gone down to identify the body. And Milton Halpern was the chief medical examiner of New York at that time. He was also the greatest pathologist in the world. And he was there, and Lou said, would you talk to Vicki for me? You know, just tell us something. So he got on the phone and he said to me, oh, Vicki, I'm so sorry, it really was. He was a stunning little boy and blah, 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 blah. So I said to him, you know what? This happened to Lou and I for some kind of reason. There must be a reason. What can we do to help? There must be something. He said, well, actually what we'd like to do here is build a laboratory for the cause and cure of sudden infant death. So I said, you go. And every year we built that lab. It ran for 10 years. Every 6 months we would have a big show somewhere, and everyone appeared for nothing. The musicians who had to get paid by the union gave all their checks back. And we had a remarkable 10 years, the biggest hotels, Carnegie Hall. And then when Lou died, I said, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do it. Anyway, for 8 years, 10 years I didn't sing. And then I got this job at 88. This person asked me, would you come and open the club? And I said no. Anyway, I did. Ivan came, and Roland was there, of course, they were there all the time. And suddenly Ivan says to me, if you're really going to sing, I'll write a show for you. So I said, well, what are you going to write? He said, I don't know. Do some research. So I did some research and came back with a lot of things from the 30s and 40s. I went to the Museum of the War Museum.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Churchill's bunker, and I learned all about the war. And then there was an agent called Lou Grade, who became Sir Lou Grade.
Yes.
He was the
Yes.
biggest entrepreneur in the world. He brought the biggest stars to England, to everywhere. And I thought to myself, maybe I could talk to him and find out what it was like in the 30s and 40s. So I called up his office and I said, I'm doing a show about World War I and the variety that's going on at that time, the entertainment. Do you think it's possible for me to have a meeting with Lou Grade, Sir Lou Grade, Lord Lou Grade? So she comes back and she says, yes. How would Wednesday be at such and such a time? So I went there. He was so nice to me. First of all, he told me he was the Charleston king of the world when he was young. And he told me all about the entertainment that was on in that time, the First World War, and then after that war, right up until the 50s. So I went back with a lot of information, and this young man wrote it down. And we had a very successful show.
That's fantastic.
It was wonderful.
Absolutely fantastic. So I noticed, and I'm sure all of you did, that there were some clips from a soap opera on this video. Okay, let's talk about your soap opera
Days
years.
of Our Lives. I had never seen a soap opera, and I was booked on it, and I thought, well, I better look at some soaps. Anyway, I was Violet Crumb. I owned a pub. It's like Cockney, you talk like that, and I had a son, and the son was very interested in, there was one woman there, one actor, who wanted to play 3 parts. So she wrote in herself triplets. And she played, and each time I was with her, I didn't know which triplet it was. And the first scene I do with her, I'm sitting opposite. Now the stars had cue cards, but not I was on it for a year, I never had a cue card. So I'm looking at the card and she's not saying what's on it. She's just going on and babbling and babbling and babbling, so I figured, all right, when she stops, I'll start talking. And it was like that with her every time. She never kept to the script. And they have such egos. Oh my God, I mean, she had been on it for many, many years. And there was a shot where I knock on a door and she answers it. So I knock on the door, she opens the door and she says, wait, can you see me? Can you see all of me? So yeah, fine, go. Now I sit on the couch and she's behind me. Again, stop. Can you see me fully? This is a woman that must have been on the show for 20 years then. But the funniest thing is, one time they changed the actor for a certain part. There was one actor that played a certain part, and then another one came in. I don't know what happened to the first one, but the first one goes in the shower, and the second one walks up. That was Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives. It wasn't live though, it was taped,
It was
right?
taped,
It was
yeah,
taped, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's what I thought. So that was shot in Hollywood,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So you've lived in New York, you've lived in Hollywood, you've lived in London. Is there any place else that you've lived besides those?
California.
Yeah, California.
That I've lived, not yet.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So who are some of the favorite people that you have worked with?
Oh, Milton Berle. Milton Berle was wonderful. He was so good-hearted, but he would crack, he would never tell you the thing properly, it would be a joke. So, one day, I was singing at one of the shows, I worked with him, I think, for about a month, and I was doing a show called Big Spender. And, it was this, the minute you got in the room, you could see, so the drummer is supposed to go each time but he didn't. So he didn't do it. So Milton goes backstage with the cigar, and he's telling him, on 2 or 4, he's got the cigar, and there's what they call a scrim, which is a very see-through sort of curtain. And he's standing with the cigar, and the curtain catches on fire. And I'm still singing. Oh my God, in the Catskills. I remember doing a show there, and somebody died in the audience.
No. Oh my God.
Many times.
Not just figuratively.
And he died in the audience, and they don't sort of show you that he died. They come in with a drip, so that you think he's still okay, So the MC says to me, I never had to handle this before. I said, well, what do you think? You think I handled it every show? So he says to me, you have to go out there, you have to go. I said, oh, all right. I walked up and I said, ladies and gentlemen, there is an adage, an old adage in show business that says, no matter what happens, the show must go on. So, it's your choice. Would you like the show? I didn't even finish and they are applauding and screaming. That's how much they cared. So, and I once worked another hotel where somebody had died just before the show. And I was coming on from the kitchen, very charming. And he was on a slab. They out. And I was waiting. And the comedian was on so long, and I kept saying, get off, get off, get off, get off. I want to get away from this man. I worked Rodney Dangerfield's quite a bit. I knew Rodney, and I used to work, he had a club
Yes,
in
New York.
New York.
Yeah.
And one day, I'm in the dressing room, and there's a noise, there's a little staircase to go down from the stage to the dressing room. And on the floor is lying a guy, choking. So I didn't know what to do. And they called, I think, a paramedic who came along and gave him, what do you call it, that thing? A tracheotomy.
Tracheotomy.
And I'm standing there watching this. Now I have to step over him and go up and sing. So, I think I sang a good dance or something ridiculous. And all I could see was this tracheotomy in front of me.
Your son wrote a musical for you. You told us a little bit about it, but talk more about Smiling Through and what that was like for you to be on stage as you.
Well, it would be very funny because, he would be watching me, the writer, and says to the actor, "Mummy, I think you should do it in a different way." Mummy.
It was a one-woman show, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it began as a one-woman show, and it was an incredible experience.
Is it something that you could ever do again?
Oh no.
No.
Mm-mm. Because when I came to New York, it was directed by someone you know, Penny, Pat Birch.
Oh, Pat Birch, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
She directed it with about 15 costume changes.
Yeah. Pat Birch was the original choreographer for Grease, among other shows.
And you know, on the Tonight Show, when somebody danced on the piano and you could hear the keys, that was her. And she also created hand jazz.
Oh, well.
She was wonderful. She was fabulous.
Yeah.
But it was very, very hard work doing 8 shows a week. And I
Which
couldn't
theater
get
were
an
you in?
understudy.
Which theater were you in? It was off Broadway, right?
Yeah, Theatre 54.
Oh,
no, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
54,
nice
yes.
theater.
It's a
Very
lovely
nice.
theatre.
Yeah.
But we called people in for understudies. No, I'm not doing that. You must be nuts. I'm not gonna do that. So.
That's what the people auditioning
Oh,
for
yeah, no, I'm
understudies
not
say,
gonna
I'm
do
not
that.
doing
No, I'm
that.
not doing it. But it went on and it worked different places and it was lovely. And then after that, somebody had said to me, "What happened to you during the war?" And I started telling the story. So I talked with Ivan, and then we wrote the next show, We'll Meet Again, which was wonderful. It was all songs from World War II.
Yeah. Mm.
And it was, you
Iconic.
saw one at White Cliffs of Dover,
Yes.
that was one, yeah.
Yes, yes,
It
yes.
was really, it was wonderful working with him.
With your son. Her son is here, by the way.
I also have another son here. Who designed the flyer and put that montage together. He must have got through years and 50 years of work. You must be so sick of me. I mean, you were before, but.
Do you have any grandchildren?
Yes, I have 3 granddaughters, 2 of whom are here.
Oh, where? Oh.
Stand up.
Oh. Hello.
Ivan's daughter,
Hello. And
Darla.
oh, how old is Darla?
How old are you, Darla?
8.
And what do you like to do most?
Sing.
Oh,
You're good, right?
do you like to hear Grandma sing?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, speaking of watching you singing, you had a birthday recently in
Yes.
January, and tell us about what you did on that birthday. Oh, this is a great story.
Well, it was my 90th birthday, and I had Melissa Newman, who is Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward's daughter. I'm sure you all know her, she's very well. She said, "I think you should come and sing at the Veterans for Foreign Wars." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because you're 90 and it would be great to do it." And that was one of the songs.
Yeah.
I ended up singing there, I think 3 times. And she said, "You have to come on your 90th birthday." So that's what I did. I sang.
To an unsuspecting audience.
Oh, yes.
Can you imagine sitting in the audience and thinking, oh no, there's a 90-year-old woman that's gonna get up and sing, oh no. And then having this amazing woman stand up and sing, and you're just exploding with joy.
Actually, many of them were crying. Because they really hated it. When I sang We'll Meet Again, they were crying and crying, and they just were incredible.
The audience.
Oh.
Only because
they
you
went
were.
crazy.
Only because you were incredible.
Well, I don't know, but it was such a wonderful feeling. I said to them that the last time I sang this was in 1995 in Times Square. It was the anniversary of victory over Japan, and there were probably about 20,000 people there. And I sang White Cliffs of Dover and We'll Meet Again.
In Times Square.
In Times Square, yeah. And it was on every newsreel except I don't have a copy. Anyway, and then I had the pleasure of meeting, it's hard to say his name, Giuliani. He was mayor at that time. And he came up and shook my hand. Well, then he was, he was a great man those years ago. I want to talk about the foundation.
Please.
Well, you saw the Andrew William Infant Survival Foundation, and we kept that going for 10 years. After that, they still haven't found the true cause of sudden infant death. And strangely, there were 3 babies that died that day of that. It is a shocking thing, and I got a lot of publicity. I wanted to publicize it. I wanted people to know, because when they found these babies, the pathologist would say bronchial pneumonia, and it wasn't. So Milton Helpman and I went, I don't even remember where it was, and we had the death certificate changed to unknown causes, which is what it still says. After that, obviously there was a lot of publicity about, sudden infant death, and I would speak to a lot of different people, and then I get a call from a Catholic person who says to me, I've learned all about the Andrews, and would you come down with myself, a priest, and a rabbi to the House of Representatives? And I said, for what? They said, well, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there is such a thing as partial birth abortion, which could be at 7 months. And not because there's anything wrong with the baby, but because they just decide the woman doesn't have it. So at 6.5 months, 7 months, it's the most god-awful thing I've ever seen, how they do this. So I figured, okay, so I went down and addressed the House of Representatives. And it was very strange, because a few days before I went, my nephew in Jerusalem, his wife had given birth to a baby at 6 months. They saved it. She's now a marathon runner, and God only knows what else. So I said to him, what did she look like? Did she have eyebrows? Did she have nails? Did she have, So I was able to tell them what this abortion looked like, and that it was really murder. And we thought that, because it was legal, we went down to try to make it illegal. I'm pro-choice, obviously. And Bill Clinton we figured for sure he'd do it, but he didn't. And at the end, Newt Gingrich came up and put his arm around me like this, and I must have recoiled like a snake. But unfortunately, it didn't change anything. And now, of course, it's all cockeyed.
It is. And the name of the foundation is?
Andrew Menchel Infant Survival Foundation.
Is there
AMIS, which is French for friends, actually.
Amis, of course.
Amis, yes.
Is there a website?
No, not anymore. I don't think so, not anymore, no.
Are you still raising money?
No.
Oh,
No.
I see. It's no
No,
longer active.
after 10 years, and then when Lou died, I said, I can't do this anymore.
Is the laboratory still in existence?
Well, actually, I spoke to The one who became, Michael Barton, he became
Michael Barton?
yes, he became he took Milton Helpman's place.
Okay.
And it was the strangest thing, I hadn't spoken to him for maybe 40 years. And I called him up and I said, I had his number, and I said, Michael, this is Vicki Stuart. He said, oh, how's Lou? I thought, oh my God. And we had this long conversation, and he said that they still haven't found anything. But he was, he said, I'll never forget what you did. Because it was such an amazing kind of thought. And I would lecture at hospitals and lecture at universities, and people would call me. Once they found, I think I was on NBC with Frank, the weatherman, what's his name, Frank?
The weatherman on NBC?
Yeah, for years and years and years, can't think of his name. You know it, anybody know it? Who?
Frank Field.
Frank?
Field.
Frank Field?
I think it is, yeah, I think it is Frank Field. And because of that, people started calling me, and I would counsel them. And one woman called me and she said, my baby girl died, and we would like to bury her in the garden and put a rose bush there. I said, well, I don't know if that's legal. And I managed to talk her out of it. I said, what you should do is go and ask your clerk or the council or whatever it is. But it was heartbreaking. And then a young couple came to me and said she was pregnant and they had no money. They didn't know what to do. So I called a board meeting and they came in and they explained their situation, and I said, you will have the baby, you will have diapers, you will have a crib, you will have everything. And we raised money for that young couple, and they had the baby, and the baby was fine. I sort of believe in life. You have to give back somehow. I know some people agree, some people, it doesn't matter. I just feel that, if I can give back a little, so.
I think you've given us a lot.
You
have given us a lot.
I have to tell you, I'm so glad you came. I know practically all your names.
Oh, that's wonderful. I would love to find out if any of you have any questions, or any comments, any thoughts that you would like to share with Vicki.
Ask me anything. Yes.
Yeah.
Vicki, do you have any fears? Are you afraid of anything?
No,
Nothing?
no,
Not singing or dancing or anything like that?
no.
Or-
Well, I can't, I got somebody else's knees, I don't know who they are. But they don't allow me to dance anyhow.
Would you sing a little tune with Darla?
Would you sing a little tune with Darla?
Darla?
Darla? Would you like to sing something with your grandmother?
Push her on a peg. Come on. Shall I come to you? You want to do it?
Oh,
I don't want to.
she will someday.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I have to tell you that her father, Roland, began as a most incredible entertainer. Actually, he did a one-man show in New York called The Jew Grows in Brooklyn. I don't know, he was, I had never really seen him perform since he was a child, and I sat there like, he had the best of me and the best of him.
I think I saw that.
He could do anything.
Well,
He's
what
danced.
happened to this budding career?
He didn't want to do it, right?
Yeah, just life goes in a different direction.
Show business is not for everybody.
Well, have any of you been to a restaurant downtown New York called Triplets?
No.
Yeah.
Well, yes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, Roland entertained there for how many years?
A bunch, and then I went to Sammy's Romanian steakhouse.
Oh,
Ah,
Sammy's,
Sammy's.
yes,
Sammy's
Sammy's, that's right.
Romanian,
I meant
yes.
Sammy's Romanian, sorry.
Sammy's
Yeah, he was
Romanian.
there
Oh.
for 3 years, 4 years? 10?
10 years? What did you do?
One-man band, so it was like a bar mitzvah gone wild. Everybody's been there, and I just did the whole music and klezmer, dancing.
Oh, it was incredible.
Are you going to do it again somewhere? Will you?
When my daughter grows up and has her own income, I will.
I totally understand.
I'm very lucky to have 2 wonderful men as my sons. And let me say that over the mic. I am very lucky to have 2 wonderful men as my sons. They are caring, they are thoughtful, they are judgmental, but they're wonderful. And actually, my daughter-in-law is here. She's a wonderful actress, Karen. Hello. And people see, and Roland's wife is in California, Danita, and people say to me, how can you live with your daughters-in-law? What are you talking about? Everyone I know who has a daughter-in-law is not talking to them or fighting with them. So I'm very lucky. I have 2 daughters. I always wanted daughters, so now I have sons, daughters, and granddaughters. And
Wow.
Lou's sister is doing an amazing thing. Ivan, tell me what it is.
ABA therapist. She works with autistic children in schools and homes. Yeah.
She's a behavioral therapist, right?
Yep.
And sometimes she comes home and she's had to clean up from both ends. And, you know, they can smack her or this or that. And I think you have to really have an incredible temperament to deal with that,
absolutely.
because they're all autistic.
Now, are you in Westport because your children were here? And you came here from where?
California.
My
From
house.
They
California.
came from California.
And how long have you been here?
Oh, it seems forever. 4 years.
Stay.
And I love it. I
Stay.
tried very hard to think of a name for this part of Connecticut, and I found it. And the word is idyllic. I believe it is idyllic here.
I agree 100%. Do you all agree?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So I feel very lucky to be here, and I intend to stay here for a long time.
Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today. And I thank you all.